All right, we are live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Health Coach Tip Tuesday. I am your host, Jess Delpino, one of the FDN course advisors, and this week I have Barbara, who is also one of our course advisors, joining us here to talk about Instagram and how you can use it as a health coach. How are you doing today, Barbara?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. How's the weather up in Canada?
It's really hot today. Like, we're getting a heat wave, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Where in Canada are you again?
I'm in Montreal, Quebec.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right in the middle of the city.
Yeah, the very, very busy part and very French.
Very French. Oh, do you speak French also?
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, you
So,
speak multiple languages, don't you?
yeah, I speak 3. I'm actually second generation Greek, and the language here in the province is mainly French, but living in Canada, you also speak English, so 3 languages.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're ahead of the game for most people, I'd say.
It's never too late.
Do you coach people in different languages also?
Well, I have been approached by French clients, but I will say that I don't feel quite comfortable yet, to coach in French. It's something, definitely in the works, but it's a great opportunity, right, for anyone. If they do know more than one language, it's really useful.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely opens up your clientele.
A lot.
So today we're going to talk about how you can use Instagram as a health coach. Instagram is a really great way for you to be out on social media without really having to put too much work into it. And especially if you're an upcoming brand new health coach, just starting your practice, this could also be a really good place to start developing your community. And instead of immediately putting together a website, which can be very time consuming and expensive, this can be a really easy way for you to kind of just be out on the internet and start remotely working with people, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's much easier.
So let's talk about how you use Instagram, and maybe I'm going to pull up your Instagram so we can show people. And let's just kind of look at some of the basic things that you can do on it so that people kind of understand the lingo if they haven't really used it before.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah.
So basically with Instagram, oh dear. Sorry, can you repeat that because the connection got cut off?
Oh, no worries. I just pulled up your Instagram so that we can kind of show people some of the basic features and how they can use it. So this is Barbara's Instagram. If you guys are interested in following her, this is her name, and that's how you search her on Instagram, which you can do up here. And this is the desktop version, by the way. It's a little different from the mobile, but if you want to go through and just kind of maybe explain what some of these different areas are, I'll go ahead and click for you.
Yeah, perfect. So basically, I mean, Instagram is much easier than creating a website. With a website, you have to, in many cases, learn HTML. You have to learn how to do some coding. It's a little more complicated in the sense that you have to create pages and learn how to sync things, link things, and whatnot. Rather, with Instagram, everything is on one page, and all you have to do is just either upload different types of media, whether it's video, or photos. And it's a great platform for people to get to know you and what you know and what you specialize in. So in a way, you're kind of promoting, you're showing off how much you know and just what you're capable of doing.
Yeah, and that's a great thing, right? Like, I think most people who are on Instagram are just sharing a lot of great information, right? Like, not only is it people getting to know you, but they're also beginning to trust that your information is good and it works, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And, like a lot of people take different approaches on how they want to share their information. Some now Instagram initially started with just photos. It was just like a highlight reel of pictures. But I mean, people now optimize trying to, push their message out there by using the stories, which you'll see at the top where my photo is highlighted. That's like a 24-hour video that is live, that you are capable of utilizing to help people, to kind of speak to people and have them, and explain what you just posted about, or updating them on certain things. And in addition, now as the years have passed, Instagram now also has added features where you could do videos like up to 20 minutes or so, which are called IGTVs. For people who have a certain number of followers, you could do like an hour, I believe. And now they also have Reels, which is very similar to TikTok, or I think it's like a few seconds that you could do. And that's really convenient because now in today's social media world, people don't have enough time to watch like a full hour. People are just swiping through their phones and they just want a quick little, video that's informative just to get to the point, right?
Yeah, I've seen these before where people are just very short videos and they're pointing at stuff on the screen, and but very quick, like you said. How long do those last? Like maybe 15 seconds?
Around there, yeah. I would say 15, 20 seconds.
So these would be good if you had a bunch of information with maybe like quick tips for something with your community. That would be a really good use of Reels. And you can see Barbara uses quite a few of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then
yeah, and we do have to also consider the like how Instagram works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just going to say, now with how Instagram works, I mean, you want to go based off of the, I'm not sure what my choices of words I'm losing them, but, just how are you going to get onto people's explore pages? How is Instagram going to choose your profile to make you more, I guess, popular in the sense? Mm-hmm. And so it's the algorithm. There you go. So you have to go based off of the algorithm with Instagram. And that is what it used to be compared to now is very different. Mm-hmm. Before it was, how many likes and comments you can get on a photo. Whereas now Instagram is really trying to push people to do a lot of reels and to share and save the content. And that's how you really get people to see your profile a little more.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's called, I forget the terminology specifically, but you want people to spend time on your posts. The more time that they spend watching a video or even scrolling through multiple photos on a post or on your stories, then the algorithm thinks that your content and your profile are more relevant. And so they'll keep posting it to the people who are following you. And then the other part of that is if you look at people's posts, you scroll all the way down, a lot of times they'll have hashtags. And hashtags are really useful because if somebody's looking for a particular topic, these are almost like Google search terms. So you can put in those sort of terms with a little hashtag in front of it. And then if somebody's looking for thyroid problems, for instance, that you have on this one, and they just type that into their search bar here, these are all of the people who are posting about thyroid problems. So you want the algorithm to showcase you closer to the top so people who don't follow you find you. You can see there's only 171,000 or so people who've posted with that search term. So it's not that many people in comparison to who's using this platform.
Yeah.
Which is also another great thing with hashtags. You want to find ones that are, they're popular, but not too popular. Because if this was like millions, your stuff would never show up toward the top. Just
right.
There's like a post every second that's going up with that search term.
Yeah, I mean, hashtags are more like keywords if you think about it. When you're, it's like with anything. It's what, and you have to think also yourself. Like, what do you think your ideal client is typing up on Instagram to that when they're looking for answers for something, right? So that's how you have to think of the hashtags. What are the keywords that they are looking for?
Definitely. And then the other part of this is that you want to make sure that your profile and the description that you have here, when people come to you, that they know exactly what it is that you do.
Exactly.
And a great thing also is to have a link here. You can link it back to your website. You can link it to a download, a group, or like what Barbara has here, which is Linktree. This is basically creating a page where she can input a bunch of links for them to go to, so that, you know, she can always keep referring to go, like, click the link in my bio to find whatever that she's talking about.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to bring up here are circles, which are called highlights. These are actually different stories that you create, you can curate, so that when somebody comes onto your Instagram profile, again, this is just keeping them on your profile longer. And it's so that you can quickly put together information, so they don't have to go back and scroll through hundreds and hundreds of posts that you've made, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it would take an absolute eternity just to go through the amount of posts that some people post. Like, some people have over 1,000 photos or videos, and, you know, by the time you actually get to one, you'll never find it. So with highlights, you will share things onto your stories, as we mentioned before. And despite the fact that a story will usually only last 24 hours, if you save it onto a highlight, it will stay there forever. So it's kind of like a bookmark on your page. And so all you have to do is just reference to the bookmark, and people are able to find what you are referencing to much easier.
Awesome. Yeah. So you can definitely couple those into different things. So I see you have here like metabolism. So those are going to be all stories about things that you've posted about with metabolism.
That's right.
Or testimonials from clients. So other people can see what Barbara has done, and they might feel comfortable to reach out to Barbara. Which also brings me to the point that anytime you post something, you want to give people the option or explain to them how they can contact you, or, you know, what they can do, right? So that's called a call to action. You might have heard that, or CTA.
Yeah.
And you want to always post something, whether it's like comment below, or click the link in my bio, or let me know your thoughts, you know, reach out to me if you want to work with me, whatever your call to action is. You want to constantly be posting that, because repetition, people eventually will click or contact you, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we are creatures of habit, right? And when we start seeing something often enough, eventually becomes very normal, and we become accustomed to it, and then we warm up to it, and then we like it, and then we go, you know, it's just the human psychology. So if you are constantly reminding people, call me or email me or DM me or book an appointment with me, eventually people are going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I should, because I'm always here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I think it's, sometimes we can feel a little salesy as health coaches, and we don't want to, but you have to remember that part of you being out on the internet is you are a business. And this is kind of like the old days of posting up a billboard or putting something in the newspaper. You know, this is where people are. So you have to have some presence here. It doesn't have to be super, amazing, but to have something for people to find you is going to make it a lot easier for you to start working remotely and connecting with your niche, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's really nice about Instagram is that, I mean, you're able to give out free information, but you're not giving away everything.
Yeah, exactly.
When people see that you know your stuff, they're more inclined to work with you because they know you a bit more. And if they see that, you're speaking to them on a personal level, they're like I said, they're more inclined to working with you. You are speaking to them specifically, which is why it's so important to have a niche, of course, right?
All right. Well, I'd love to see if anybody out there, I know there's some people watching us. We'd love to get your comments and questions about Instagram, how you might be using it, or what other things maybe we didn't cover yet here. I know I can speak from my own personal experience in using Instagram, that I think one of the best ways that I saw or started to see a return was when I was actually getting certified as an FDN. I was posting about my journey of learning and the things that I was doing to help myself and how that was impacting my health and my family. And I started to see a lot of people commenting or reaching out to me. Like, I wasn't getting so many likes, or, you know, I wasn't growing by millions of followers every week, but I was actually getting real people who were messaging me, asking me, you know, how did you do that? Or when are you looking to take clients? Are you taking clients? You know, like you said, the more I was open and posting about my story and sharing information, the more comfortable people got with me. And I started to see a lot of people reaching out, maybe not commenting because they didn't want people to know what was going on with them. Especially if I was posting about something kind of off in, like, maybe parasites or something like that. Like, nobody wants other people to know that they might be dealing with those kinds of things. But, you know, messages were definitely increasing. And I started to make a lot of friends that way, and potential clients. When you started your journey, was Instagram the first thing you were using, or did you start to see an increase in your clients that way by using Instagram?
So Instagram was actually not the first thing I was using. Believe it or not, the first thing I actually went for was Facebook. And I learned very quickly that was not the way to go. Facebook it's a little more complicated. It's a little more overwhelming with all the features that they have on the sides. So I do feel like Instagram was a little easy. It's easier for people to digest.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't getting clients initially either. I was very similar in terms of your story. You know, the more I posted, the more real people who were interested in learning more and
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was speaking more to them and their story came along. You know?
Yeah. And I think back to when I was looking for help with my health, right? And trying to find people who were speaking that made sense to me. And that's where I started. I was like, well, nobody that I really found on my own was really speaking the language that made me feel like I could overcome some of my health issues, right? And so that's where I started when I was looking for, like, what do I start posting about? Because that's a question that I get from some practitioners when I talk about Instagram and social media marketing. It's like, I don't know what to post about. It's like, start with your story. And it's okay to be open and vulnerable. I mean, you don't have to share everything, but the more you do share, especially if it's like more topics, like taboo sort of topics, or things that people don't feel comfortable talking about, like bowel movements and parasites, or, you know, like those sort of things. If you speak about it openly, like, they may not comment, but they might respond back to you. They might reach out to you because all of a sudden somebody else in the world is dealing with something they thought nobody else could understand. And
100%.
that's where I saw a huge increase of people, like, just like, DMs, which are direct messages, like, so what did you do to fix that?
Can you repeat what you just said, the last part? Because you got
No, I said, the more taboo sort of topics, the more people felt like they weren't alone and they felt comfortable to message me,
100%. You know, I think one of my most popular posts was a post about constipation.
Oh, really?
No joke. No joke. You know, and another one I think just recently was about, like, castor oil packs. You know, like, people don't talk about castor oil packs. Like, they think it's like a grandma thing, you know, like, you put a pack of dripping in castor oil, you put it on your liver and you just sit there, you know, watching Netflix. It was like one of the most popular things that I shared. And I was like, well, I'm doing something right.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing too is, I think the more that you can take more complicated topics and make them easier to understand and easier to digest by the community, all of a sudden people, maybe their education goes up even, they didn't understand what certain topics that some of these bigger health people are talking about. But if you could even just take those topics and boil them down and make them easier to understand, that's another great way to start kind of connecting with the community as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and keep in mind, I mean, many clients out there, when they go to their doctor or when they're diagnosed with something and it's extremely overwhelming and they don't even know what is actually wrong with them. For instance, somebody will get diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and your client will be like, well, what does that mean? Like, what is hypothyroidism really? And if we were to really break it down, there's many different types, right? And so you just like created, like, I don't know, 10 different posts right there. You could explain, what is hypothyroidism? What type is it? What are the different types? How to go about it? How did you develop it? Like, what could be root causes? Like, there's so many things, and all through one topic.
Yeah. That's the thing. When you realize that there's so much that you can break down, then all of a sudden you have way too much that you can post about.
Then you end up, like never to stop working.
Yeah, exactly.
Instagram is like a second job.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we're talking about how to use Instagram as a health coach. We've got some great tips that we've been talking about today. We kind of just went through some of the basics of what the different aspects of Instagram are, but we'd love to hear from people who are watching today. Like, what questions do you guys have about using Instagram? Are you scared to use Instagram? Have you attempted to do something? Did you fail at it? There's so much that can go on with that platform. And I think it's a really great place where, especially on the stories, because they only last 24 hours, you can get a little creative. And if it doesn't work, it's gone, right?
Yeah. It's not there forever.
I love how I'm going to pull your Instagram back up again, but your aesthetic of what yours looks like, just all of these, I guess you would call them like infographics. Is there a particular service or thing that you're using to make those?
I use Canva, Canva. I think .com, if I'm not mistaken. It's free. You could you could sign up for a premium membership that you do have to pay for to access, like all the tools and, bells and whistles and all that. But I use the free version, and it is probably the easiest thing that you could ever manage, to create your own infographics. And you could get creative and you could create your own signature, brand in a way, which is nice.
Yeah, no, you definitely have a look when you look at your Instagram. And I think that's great, because when somebody sees something like this with a little underline here, they know that it's Barbara.
Exactly.
And I love how when you kind of scroll through your timeline too, like, you have a few posts of just you, or maybe these are those two. So people get to see your face.
Yeah.
And then, you have some quotes too of things that people can, I'm sure that these get a lot of saves, right? Like, people are saving that content and they're sharing it with other people.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a little reminder, for them.
And then when you look at the wording of the post, like, so this is really short, right? Celery juice will not cure. And then you put a bunch of different things here. But then if you go into the actual post, you really kind of expanded on that quite a bit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, this is just somebody will take the time. You kind of grab them with the image or the quote, and they spend the time to read the breakdown. That's, again, putting more time on your profile and telling the algorithm that it's, you're definitely more viable than somebody else who might not be posting as much, or their content isn't as good.
Right. And I think it's also important to note that, I mean, at the beginning of when you start writing in that comment section, that you should have a catchphrase, to get people to actually want to continue reading. It's just like writing a newspaper article. I was a journalist before I got into this, and that was like one of the biggest things that they taught us, was that you have to, the first paragraph has to, or not the first paragraph, but the first couple of sentences has to kind of provide you the who, what, where, when, why, and how. But in this context, we're not doing that, but you do have to kind of catch people's attention and get them to wanting to read more, and the rest of it.
Well, also too, I think when you look at Instagram, I'm going to see if I can pull it up on my phone, because it's a little different when you look at it on the phone versus when you look at it on the computer. When you pull it up on the phone, you know, you do get a very short little description of what the post, all of that wording is. So you really want to make sure that that first sentence is really catchy, because it'll cause somebody to click the more, which then brings out all of that. So let's see if we can see my phone here. So this is just scrolling through the Instagram timeline. And if you look, there's only so much that you can post with the wording here before it says more right there. And when you click the more, it'll show the entire post of what you're typing. So you really want to make sure that the first sentence of what you're posting there really does grab their attention. And if you can do that with a good image or a video, then, you know, you're kind of really pulling somebody in to your world. Then by doing that, they'll want to click on your profile. Maybe they'll follow you. They'll start doing the things that you're asking them to do, which is like, click on this link, comment below, share this post. Those are kind of the big things that I would say are easy ways to get started on Instagram. And it's a really easy way for you to build a lot of content that you can then even transfer to a website when you're ready, if that's something you really feel like you want to do. Or you can just keep using Instagram and have a website for basic things like your about me, here's a link to, or email me, or, you know, if you start other services and stuff like that, you can have more detailed breakdown on your website and use your Instagram more like a blog, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's really more of like it's really like a platform, you know, to have you yourself express yourself, but also at the time connect with other people. That's what blogs used to be, right? You know, we know when we were younger, blogs were like, you know, what we got to write about, what we thought, how we felt, and, you know, what we knew, and how to connect with other bloggers.
Oh, for sure. Somebody, hi, Esther, how are you? She's on every show. She was asking if we can post Barbara's Instagram handle. So I'm going to put it up here. And it's just Barbara Matamenos. Is that right? Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
Okay. And so did you consider using just your name, or, you know, do you think it might be better to use like your company name? Like what are your thoughts on that? Because this is how somebody can search you if they go to like Instagram.com/whatever, or if they go into the search, they search either your company name or your name, and then it's going to show profiles with that. What's your take on picking a good name for your Instagram?
So before I actually had put my name, I was dabbling with different company names, but in the end, I just ended up finalizing and settling with just my name as my company name. I don't have anything catchy or anything, and I wish I did, but I didn't. But it's helpful, because I mean, when you have like a catchier name, like I have a friend who is a clairvoyant. Her Instagram handle is Christina the Channel. So it's more, you know, she's channeling energy, right? So, and I'm sure if anyone who's watching this, you'll know what I'm talking about, because she's very popular on Instagram. But, you know, it is better to have a company name, because it's catchier. People will remember you. They differentiate you than, you know, for myself, any other Barbara, because any Barbara could be the same Barbara, right? But I ended up just, you know, settling with my name. I don't think there's anybody else on Instagram who has both my first name and my last name together. So I'm still going strong as being the only one.
Well, that's smart too, right? Like I kind of did the same. Well, I did the same thing in starting an Instagram with my company name. So you can find me on Instagram at Whole Function Wellness. And this is the second incarnation. I actually had a different company name at first. But Whole Function Wellness to me was something that I felt like I wouldn't change in the future, right? Like you're not going to change your name. So if you don't have a good company name, relying on your name is a great way for you to, you know, have a presence. And like you said, nobody else has Barbara Matamenos And so you can always say, oh, follow me at this. And if they know who you are, like if you're talking to somebody in person or emailing with them, they'll look for your name that way. For me, I went with my company name, which is Whole Function Wellness. And it's because that kind of encompasses the idea of what I wanted to do with health coaching or working with health coaches. I've changed a little bit here and there. But like, I want to function wholly within my wellness and the people that I work with. And you can see here too, like I have a nice little breakdown. I put in my profile my hashtag also, and you can do this in your profile. Like if you're specializing in thyroid problems or digestive health, you can put a hashtag so that people could potentially find you when they're searching for those hashtags also. But yeah, I've got some highlights here. I haven't used mine in a little while, but for a minute there, I had a whole breakdown where I was going into leaky gut and explaining, differences and putting videos up. And this is where I was starting to get a lot of traction. And it's because I was being consistent. That's what I found to be really helpful. I was posting 3 times a week, but the consistency was there. So people knew that I was posting at that time. They knew what type of content I was talking about because I had it all laid out at the very beginning. And that's how I started. I was just kind of playing around with this to see what works and what wouldn't work. And then I kind of got busy doing this for FDN. So that was what happened with me. But I still do post stories all the time. And I found that even though I don't post so much on the timeline, I get people who follow me still, and they'll go back and scroll through all of this content, because none of this content is just because it's not or it's not new doesn't mean that the information changed, right? Like it's
exactly.
Yeah. So this is here for a long time for people to go back and learn about this stuff. And if they like you, they will actually scroll through a lot. Don't you think?
100%. Like sometimes I'll get one day, I'll get a random person and who's found me somehow, and they suddenly like 12 of my posts, then they'll suddenly start following me. If you just need that one person who's like, she gets me, and they suddenly become a new follower and possibly eventually a potential client.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? With social media, it's not a quick increase in clients, but it definitely does overall help people to understand who you are. It's a quicker way than building a website. And, you have to do what makes sense for you. So we do have some tips for you that we want to share. So make sure you comment below. We'll send those to you. It's kind of like 5 of the best things that we talked about today to kind of keep you on track on how to utilize Instagram. And over time, as you start to kind of build kind of the same stuff that Barbara and I have worked on, not only are you going to start creating a community, but you'll also create a look for yourself, which Barbara has done really, really well. Just that nice light blue color, same font. And it does kind of give a sense of somebody wanting to trust what she says too. And you can see I'm scrolling pretty far back. Like this, you've been really consistent with the look, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you want to create a signature look for yourself because then people will recognize you. It's like this type of, it's like, a designer's name or a designer's pattern. You immediately know it's them, and there's value to that, right? And so you could create this on your own and add value to your name or your company name and your page.
Yeah, totally. Esther was wondering, when you talk about company's name, are you using your company logo or your personal picture in here? So I guess that would depend, right?
Yeah, it would depend. I mean, everyone is different. If you have a logo, if you have a picture of your company's name and you want to put it there, and you don't want the company to represent you as an individual, but you want it to be more of like a community, then I would say go for your company logo. But some people don't have that. They are the only person working. They're you are your own entrepreneur and you want to put your face out there. So it's really more of a personal preference and how you want to kind of conduct your business. But some people do the company logo.
Yeah, when I had mine, when I first started out, I didn't have an official logo, but with it being Whole Function Wellness, right, with the W, I actually just took a picture of me with my fingers up like this. And so I had the W in front of my face, and it kind of worked as both. And I had that for a long time. I only just recently changed it to be a smiling picture of my boyfriend and I, because this is becoming more of a personal story that I'm shifting this to, and less about, a particular brand. But yeah, that was my compromise, because I didn't have the time or the money to hire somebody to create the logo. But, there are many people, like if you looked at FDNs, we use our logo in here because we're not a personal brand, right? So it really just depends on what you're looking to do, and how you want to portray yourself out to the community. But I think that's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for that, Esther.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do we have any more comments? Because it looks like we're getting pretty close to the end here. For those of you who are looking for more tips, again, just comment below. If you're on YouTube, thank you, Dustin. I know you're looking for more info as well. I'm not sure if our Instagram will send you the download that we have for today, but I will reach out to you directly with that download as well. And you can always email us at fdninfo@afdnp.com for more info. Put that up on the screen here. But yeah, I mean, I think that we've covered quite a bit today when it comes to Instagram.
Yeah, I think we did a whole 360.
Sure, if you guys missed anything, like the replay will be on Facebook and YouTube as soon as this live ends. We'll also be posting this in full on Instagram on our IGTV at FDN Training. So you can always watch the replays later in the week there. And, make sure you comment below. But yeah, that's been our Health Coach Tip Tuesday today on how to use Instagram as a health coach. There's lots of great information in today's show. Make sure you go back and rewatch if you missed anything. And my guest today has been one of our other FDN course advisors, Barbara. So thank you so much for joining us today, Barbara. I really appreciate you and for you letting us kind of like scroll through your feed and kind of use you as the showcase of the day.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Make sure you come back next week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern for Health Coach Tip Tuesday, where we share tips, tools, and resources to help your health coaching business. All right, guys.